Today I'm happy to introduce the all-new HyperEffects template 1.0 for the Elektron Octatrack Mark I and Mark II. This is a punch-in style effects template that allows you to chain different effects together to create new rhythms out of your existing music. Let me show you what I mean and then I'll explain how it works. The music you were listening to just now was all coming from the M8 tracker running into a stereo input on the Octatrack. I'm using an Octatrack Mark II, but you can use a Mark I. Either one will be just fine. I have MIDI being sent from my Octatrack out to my M8, which is sending transport and clock, but that's it. We're not sending pattern change or anything like that. We just sit on pattern 1, jump through the parts, and play with effects. The effects are all synced to the MIDI clock, so you can't really screw anything up. The way it functions is we have 4 freeze effects, as you can see I have written on this magnetic label here. We have 4 stutter effects. We have 4 time stretch stutter effects, 3 different filter types, and then of course a 4-bar looper, which you can use to transition to different songs or different pieces of equipment. It's all very intuitive and very simple. Moving through parts or the 64 different effects, you press the part button, use the arrow keys to select a new bank of effects. Each bank of effects is going to have the exact same layout with different flavors of effects. You may find tape stops or tape speed ups, or you may find filters with glitch effects on different effects blocks, and find different variations of stutters at different speeds and time stretches at different speeds and using different filters and different effects like phaser or chorus. The idea is that you engage the crossfader, hold your scene, and jump through different effects to your liking, just having fun. It completely reinvents whatever music you're doing. Let me show you what it sounds like on the Digitakt 2. You can use them as sparingly as you want, or you could just play with it the entire time you perform. Either way is going to be great. It adds a brand new flavor to your music. I originally designed this to work with my trackers, like the Polyam tracker here or the M8 tracker here, but it works excellent with any groove box, of course. I just wanted something that could take my master output from my devices and then completely remix it to give me something to do during a live show, especially on boxes like the M8 tracker and the Polyam tracker, where there's less to do with your controls, where you need a MIDI controller to kind of break out the different parameters in the boxes. I don't have to think about that as much because I'm getting the results that I want from my Octatrack from these performance effects. Now this is a lot of fun, and I designed it to also work best at higher BPMs, originally developed for drum and bass and jungle and faster techno industrial type sounds that I was really having a good time glitching out. I consider the effects lo-fi and glitch because there's lots of bit reduction. The time stretch is a very granular sound, which sounds quite gritty. And I'm using some distortion effects when I can, which sound really great in my opinion. To get started with the template, all you need to do is plug a stereo output from one of your boxes into either stereo input on your Octatrack. Whether it's from your Digitakt, Polyend, M8 tracker, your Deluge, any box that you might have, just take the stereo output, plug it into input A and B or input C and D. If you want to use a mono device, you can do that as well. Just go into your through track, which is on track 1, go to the source menu, and change one of your inputs to being a mono input, because right now they're both set to stereo inputs. By default, I have transport, send, receive, clock, send, and receive all turned on, as well as program change send turned on, just so that it works immediately. You can just plug your MIDI clock out from your M8 or Digitakt or Polyam tracker or Deluge right into your Octatrack, and the effects template will just immediately sync to that device. Or you can take the MIDI cable and plug that into your external box, and it will immediately sync that device. if you're going to have multiple clocks plugged in, you're going to want to disable either the clock receive or the clock send so that you don't have multiple clocks running at the same time. The effects are all synced to the MIDI clock, so it's important that you have MIDI clock being sent. My personal preference for this effects template is to use the Octatrack as the master clock and the transport start and stop. The reason I do this is because it just helps the fidelity of the effects. Because the effects are using a lot of live resampling, time stretch, and beat repeats to create the stutters and different glitch effects, when the Octatrack is not the master clock, it can have some MIDI jitter, which will create more artifacting and transients for the Octatrack's audio to catch, which just creates clicks and pops. Honestly, I don't mind it either way because it sounds great in a live context. The glitch effects, the little clicks and pops, kind of just blend in with how glitchy and lo-fi some of the effects are, so it shouldn't really be a problem either way. The way this template is designed is we have a through machine which brings audio into the Octatrack. It's got two insert effects on it, a lo-fi effect and a beat repeat, which is your freeze effect. You can also engage the freeze effect if you're using the delay control keyboard, which is function down. That'll bring up the delay control. This denotes different tracks that have delays on it. Number 9 is going to be your freeze delay. So if you don't just want to use these effects, you can also use these, or them at the same time, which is also a nice and fun trick. The through machine is then followed by a neighbor track, and another neighbor track. What this creates is a chain of 8 serial effects. When I'm engaging the crossfader, I'm pulling up different values on these different effects, engaging different effects in different serial combinations. And this is what makes the HyperEffects template function. On this side, we have 4 flex tracks. This top flex track is your live looper track. This is going to record 4-bar loops. It's very simple to record 4-bar loops. You just press the yes button during your performance, and at the next 4-bar interval, it will start recording a 4-bar loop. When you're ready to go into that 4-bar loop, you just select scene 16 and crossfade over quickly, and then you'll be in that loop. Alternatively, if you don't want to wait for the 4-bar turnaround, you can just press Rec 3 while highlighted on track 5, and that will engage a 4-bar loop at the next 16th note interval. That way you're not, micro-timed off and grabbing some weird segment of audio that you're looping. It will still be perfectly in time with your music. I've meticulously crafted this so we can't screw anything up during a live show. This will engage the recording immediately, and as soon as it's done recording its 4-bar loop, you can just crossfade over. Let me show you how this sounds. I hit yes. Here it comes. 3, and it's now recording. And I'm going to crossfade over. You heard it went back to the beginning of that 8-bar segment because it's a 4-bar looper. But if I want, I can now, turn off some of these sounds. Jump back into that loop. You can also be in the loop and change your tempo. This way I could transition to a new piece of kit. These 3 tracks below your live looper track are your stutter and stretch effects tracks. This is what's generating the live resample, stutter, and stretch effects. And that's what makes this template very unique, because it's sampling your live input and in real time playing it back either at different speeds, different pitch, or chopping it up and just immediately sending you out a new rhythm, which is extremely fun. There's a DJ EQ on track 4 effects 1, which is also a great tool to have. And when you want to reload it so that it goes back to its original state, it's just function Q. Let me quickly explain why I built this template. When I first got into hardware electronic music, the point of this hardware was to have a tangible, tactile interface for me to work with sounds. I was replacing bandmates. Coming from guitar playing and singing and songwriting and live music, that was what I was very excited about, and that's what my focus was on throughout all of my youth into my 30s, and then I started getting into electronic music. What I found as I was getting further into electronic music is that my programming left less for me to do at a live show. This template completely changes that. There is no end to what you can do or how many times you can use an effect. There's no overusing these effects, really, because the effects are or can be a part of your actual song. This is very much a passion project for me. The HyperFX template is kind of like my ultimate dream of what I think live effects should be like. I am in love with the Octatrack. I love designing these performance templates. This template has 64 different effects in it, all of them having different settings, creating different sounds, and I've worked very hard on making them all sound very good. That being said, it's always going to be a work in progress, and I will continue to update it on my Patreon. However, if you want to pick the template up in its current state, you can visit ko-fi.com/EZBOT. There'll be links in the video description below for you to find this template. I must say its current state is absolutely awesome and basically reinvents how you use the Octatrack. If you've not used the Octatrack as a performance mixer before, it's my favorite way to use the Octatrack, and I think probably gets you the most mileage out of this device in 2024. Load it into your Octatrack, it's a piece of cake. Each download comes with instructions on installing it into your Octatrack, which is just copying it over like any other project and loading it up, but also comes with manual on how to use all the different effects and different concepts that are built into this performance template. So please check it out, give me some feedback, let me know what you think, your favorite effects, what you'd like to see it do, if you'd like to see these effects getting incorporated into other performance templates, would you like to have risers, noise sweeps, all that kind of stuff? Should that be added to another version of this template? That'd be really cool info for me to know because I love making these and sharing them with people. My name's Matthew, aka EZBOT. Have a great time with the HyperFX template, and I hope to see you in the Discord.